Hi, Fabulous, and welcome to today's episode of the Fab Over 40 show by me, Alison K. Parsons, aka the Law of Attraction Lover. So, in today's episode, don't subconsciously do this. This idea, this contact just came out of something that happened to me this morning, and I've actually had a lot of content ideas that I've been dropping in my favorite app, Evernote, no association there, and not being able to get around to actually having the opportunity to record anything. So I'm jumping this one right to the top of the pile. And so yeah, today I had some free time and I had intended to go back through all those notes and have a look at what it was I was going to share with you guys, but this seemed to be the most prominent one. And like I said, it's fresh off the press today. Something inspired me to do this, and yeah, maybe a bit of a weak title, I don't know, but yeah, I was going to give it something a bit more of a hook, something controversial, but maybe this is all the hook you need. Don't subconsciously do this. So if you've listened to any other episodes or you know a bit about the law of attraction, it says what you think about, you bring about. And a lot of the law of attraction and the secret is based on focusing on things that are positive to attract that. And then people don't attract positive things and they say it doesn't work. Everything we attract in our life, good or bad, is the law of attraction in action, or quantum physics is the real name for it. But most of it we attract subconsciously. So in today's episode, I'm probably not going to be popular for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. So all of 2024, I've been doing some work on myself and on my business ideas and on my business, inspire Megan Hillier, and something she calls your big picture reality. I've only come across the title big picture reality by starting to use be part of Regan's world, using her tools and that. Loved Regan for a long time, and I had this intention to be mentored by her and then an opportunity, but I wasn't in the financial position to go to our higher level masterminds, one-to-ones, kind of things like that. That's what I truly believe I will be there. But after having that intention, I had an opportunity to be part of her world anyway, and I've done subconsciously a lot of her. I felt after setting that intention, an opportunity came around in December 23, and I've invested a lot of my time, like I say, on her work and what she calls the big picture reality. So I haven't been very vocal about this, and it's a lot of inner work. It's been a lot of journaling, visualizing, and actually, I've been doing so much of it in every spare pocket of time. I haven't created much content. So, but I'm not worried about that. Despite multiple people saying the key to success is consistency and publishing consistent content, I have a focused faith that everything is working out for me from my highest vision. Which brings me on to today's unexpected subject. I have so much gratitude for the life I have already manifested, but I feel desires drawing me forward to an even higher reality, higher vision, big picture reality. Regan has an amazing way of explaining that our desires are the universe's way, or source, or God, whichever terminology you feel or prefer to use or feel most comfortable with. It's this the universe's way of calling us towards what was put in our heart prior to our birth. So just think about that for a second. So if you desire something and you feel it in your gut or in your heart, or every time you see somebody who's got something similar to that, and you feel something palpable, that's the universe whispering to you, calling you, going, yes, it's already here. I'm waiting to deliver it for you. I've already got it prepared for you. It's yours. It's your divine right. You're entitled to it. There's no guilt then around anything that you so desire, as big and as wonderful as it is. It's rightfully yours. It's your big picture reality. So if you ever feel guilty about some of your desires, like more money, a luxury car, etc., or more, just more abundance in general, there is nothing wrong with these desires. They are, in fact, as I've said, your destiny calling to you. However, and I have been there too myself on many occasions, we have to be careful our desires are not motivated by something else. That is not our birthright desires. Last year, I created content on various platforms, be it blog posts, social media posts, a podcast. In my initial series, I call in this, this is my 2.0, but it was on my original start of my podcast, the Fab Over 40 Show, is in there somewhere. So I created this content about my personal observations about the passing of a much loved individual, to hopefully help people realize that not everything is as it seems, and beware of false gurus. Like I said, this person was much loved. She had really close to high profile friends. She had a magnetic energy. I've said she, I wasn't going to intend to do this when I prepped my content. But I personally was feeling something for a long time, and then things came to pass. And it's actually been, talking of past, it's just gone past the first anniversary of that person's actual passing. And I'd pulled away from this person because of the message they were sending out in the world about hard work and hustle, and how I personally feel that we that could create a lot of guilt for people that have a lot of personal responsibilities that this person didn't have. So if they're promoting a way of doing things and a lifestyle and a work ethic because there's only them to take care of, but then they're perpetuating that onto everybody, regardless of their personal circumstances, relationships, children, business, work goals, etc., and responsibilities, you could end up setting out of what they were saying, this is the way you should live your life and do your business and how you should react and work. And then you set out with it, but then a curveball comes, or you get an emergency phone call from the school because your child's sick, or you've got a serious work deadline. This person was a multimillionaire. They made lots of money. They were self-employed. They didn't have a boss. They didn't have children. They didn't have relationships. They didn't have those responsibilities that most people get. But then they were basically saying, if you didn't live their way and do what they did, you're not going to have success and you're a failure. And I pulled away from that, like I said, because I admired them at one time and what they had created and their energy, because it was so funny and energetic. And I would try to do what they were doing, but my gut was like, no, I can't do this. I would feel guilt. And then one day I was like, why am I feeling guilty? They don't know my life. They don't have the responsibilities they have. They don't have an elderly parent that relies on them, etc. And that they're not multimillionaires, so they have to work a job, or they had a business, all these different things. So I pulled away from them because I felt that could create a lot of guilt there, and make it harder for people to live up to their standards to create their success. Interestingly, I feel very aligned to Regan, and she talks and walks her talk of creating abundance, etc., from grace, flow, and ease, and alignment. And even before I came across somebody like Regan, I just didn't resonate with the hard work and the hustle kind of thing. I felt that there was an easier way, and that's exactly what she's done with her life, and she's been very successful. So it proves it can be done. I didn't plan this in my notes, but she talks about that. It is our divine right to become wealthy so that we can help other people, or we can accept as an example for other people. But she manifested and created herself into a position at a very young age that she became a millionaire in less than a year. But she wasn't enjoying it because she wasn't aligned to it. So then she did some inner work and found a way to make money in an aligned way. And she actually made a lot more money when she stepped away from the non-aligned way, and she talks about people becoming conscious millionaires and conscious billionaires. And I don't know about you, but I like that terminology about becoming wealthy, becoming a millionaire or a billionaire, because there's more and more of those these days, and things cost a lot more money. You need a lot more money to go further than what you did before. So she's saying that it's our divine right to become wealthy and abundant, to give us the time to share what we need to share with the world. But like I said, in a conscious way, conscious billionaires, conscious millionaires. So I'm gone off topic of what I was going to say, but I like that terminology, and I thought that I'd put it out there. So prior to this person's passing, going back to them, they'd actually, just prior to it, they'd put some content out and I read between the lines, and I felt while they had been sending out one message, their motivator, or probably being completely subconscious, was another. And in the end, via using alternative methods to cure their illness, they were trying to use alternative methods to cure an illness that they had. They admitted during counselling sessions they had got to a root cause which was not really expressed in any of their previous content, where they were always very exuberantly expressing a message of joy in what they were doing and the success that resulted from those actions. But my content last year shared my observations, sadly, just before their untimely death at only 34. And as part of my journey towards my big picture reality and the desires I'm having, it has led me inadvertently to materials of another person who passed away tragically earlier this year in an untimely way. In some of their content that popped up on my radar recently, they admitted they wanted to live as long as possible and as healthy as possible. I won't go in any further, but there was personal reasons for that. But you could feel the thought of dying young was absolutely palpable with this person. So this is a different person now. But the information I've been consuming is from 2012. And because of their desire to live a long, healthy life, they reached and created, or researched and created, sorry, information that has indeed actually helped probably thousands of others to live long, healthy lives they may never have lived or their actual living. But the person doing the research and creating a result recently died in a freak accident, which leads me back to be careful what is motivating your desires subconsciously, because you may end up attracting the very thing you are trying to avoid, regardless of how much you try to do that and escape it. In the end, whatever we focus on expands, and what we focus on, we attract. I've heard it said that people are usually trying to move away from pain and towards pleasure. And I wholeheartedly agree with that and feel that. But if you are still motivated by pain, even if we think we are not because we have created more pleasurable results, ultimately we attract more pain. Napoleon Hill, famed for the book that has transformed multiple lives and created many successful wealthy businesses and people, Think and Grow Rich, and is responsible for my ultimate favourite book of all time, Outwitting the Devil, talks of 6 basic fears, and poverty and fear of and a fear of poverty and a fear of death being part of those two of those 6. As you can see, one of the people I previously mentioned obviously had a fear of death. And while they did everything possible to live a long, healthy life, died young while actually partaking in a healthy activity, which makes me think their primary motivator was still fear of death, not a love for life. And as I've already said, we attract where our attention goes, even if we're not aware of it. The other person I've been discussing admitted that they had become a very successful multimillionaire at a young age, but they'd realised through this counselling I mentioned earlier, they were motivated by not wanting to be poor again. So they were putting out this exuberant message of to work harder and hustle and how amazing their life was. And I think I put it in the content before. I don't think they were lying to us because they actually thought that they were enjoying their life. But because they were so exuberant and so excited and so busy all the time, they never stopped to actually see what their true motivator was, or even were aware that their motivator was still there. It's okay to have something. I'm a big fan at the moment, or have been for a little while, but he's really coming to prominence in the moment, Ryan Serhant. And when I listened to his first book, I got what he was saying, because he was saying that once when he went to buy some yogurt and he couldn't afford to buy some yogurt, he said he never want to be in that position again. Now he is really working and hustling hard because he doesn't want to be poor again. And I get that. But it's getting that balance right, using something painful to move you towards pleasure, but make sure you keep focusing on the pleasure and being grateful for it and appreciating it. So they had this person going back that passed away at 34. They had experienced poverty, and despite creating massive wealth, feared, they admitted on this live stream that I'd seen, that it'd come up in counselling. They actually found that if they weren't working 16, 18-hour days, it may stop and they would get poor again. They didn't even know that their motivator was having to keep working, because their bottom line, they were scared if they stopped working, they would get poor again, and they didn't want to be in that position. So everything they did was motivated by fear. And he probably didn't even know that. And their message was work hard and hustle, and how they loved the life they had, doing just what they wanted. But in reality, they were living in poverty mindset still, regardless of how much money they created, because they couldn't get off this hamster wheel of working in case it all ran out, which created a poverty on so many levels, regardless of what their bank statement said and their assets and their investments said. They were still living in poverty on so many levels, because sorry for the pause, trying to articulate it if I'm trying to get this across, because I'm really winging it here, but it's just feel passionate about it today. Is if they got so much money in the bank, and they were always talking about all the assets they had, their multiple income streams, how they were building a legacy or for their future, etc., and any children that they were going to have. And unfortunately, they didn't get around to having time to have children and that. So that's why I'm saying they're living in poverty, because they were work, make all this money. But I just feel people like that are just missing out on so many other opportunities to make memories with people that they love. And that's why, because I haven't been making loads of content later, I've got focused faith on what I want to achieve, what my purpose is. But I'm living life and enjoying life along the way. And if it takes longer than maybe, 18 months or whatever, I don't care. I'm having such a magnificent time at the moment, and making so many memories and traveling and doing exciting unexpected things and doing exciting expected things and planning other events. And I'm working in the pockets of time to work towards, when I feel like it, the other stuff that I want to do. Like I said, don't miss out on life because you've been motivated. And then ultimately it was all pointless, because they manifested a fatal illness. And in one of their last live broadcasts, they admitted how terrified they were of death. Um, and they were actually investing all their financial resources they created to stay alive, and to try different things and different avenues as a possible way to cheat death. And it looked like it was working. And that's why I've seen this live stream that they did, because they admitted that they'd got to this root cause about poverty, and that they were doing all these alternative therapies, and they'd actually got a positive feedback that stuff was working. So in their exuberance and happiness, to say, look, I was trying to cheat death, and it looks like I have. And the next thing I know, that's why I've seen this live stream, because I was so confused, because then there was loads of social media going out prayers for them, because they'd really deteriorated, and I knew, I had a gut feeling that they weren't coming back from that. I mean, in their non-physical presence, I just feel that they're happy. But when we're in our physical presence, I don't want people to be happy as well, and not living in fear of poverty or death, etc. So they'd actually shared, when in a positive moment, that they were terrified of death. but their being terrified of death actually attracted the thing that they were trying to avoid. So, and like I say, it was still to no avail because their focused attention had moved from poverty to death. And like I said, they unfortunately passed away shortly after that broadcast, and that was just over a year ago. The trouble with these two cases, most probably, was they even had no idea they were motivated by the two of these primary fears, and that's the difference. Are you being motivated by faith, or are you being motivated by fear? While it may seem I came across the health information through fear, in actuality, I admit it, it's via vanity and aesthetically. Because in my big picture reality, I see my physical appearance different to the one I have today. I have no problem with the physical appearance I have today. I love myself as I am. But when I do the visualizations of my big picture reality, my physicality looks different. And because then synchronicities popped up and information popped up to help me manifest into that physical reality I'm living in, my big picture reality. If you see me, I, well, I know I don't always treat my body in the best possible manner. I always show gratitude for the miracle it is and my health on a regular basis. And long before coming across Regan's materials, I've often journaled my gratitude and written positive affirmations on my health. And I believe these types of personal development actions should be taken first. As it happens, at the time of recording this, I'm 58, and most people don't believe I'm 58 when I tell them. And people much younger than me, and while I was younger, were always complaining about you get to a certain age and you get all these aches and pains. I haven't got any of that, and I haven't got any health issues. And I'm grateful for that as I say it, but I believe that's a strong contributor. I'm not scared of death. I know that I've had some fantastic experiences, and when my time comes, I would have lived life and enjoyed life. So I'm not worried about it. But like I said, it was pure. I do enjoy having good health, so that gives me the possibilities to do more of the things that I enjoy. And I know not having good health, restricts that, regardless of what we just talked about, how much money you have or anything. It takes opportunities away from you, and I want to continue being healthy. But I came across this material, and the universe presented it to me because I have this ascetic visualization of myself when I do my big picture reality, and that was like I said, and the kind of work I'm doing with Regan and the journal prompts help you get to the root cause of your desires and see what is motivating you. Plus, it helps you find out what your big picture reality is, and that has been placed in you, in your heart before birth, and how to keep that vision in the forefront of your mind with grace, ease, and flow, and how to move towards it. And I hope this information I have shared with you has caused you to take time, or plan to take time, to get to the root causes of your motivations and desires, and focus your attention on beneficial big picture realities, and not on and away from fear-based desires. I'm involved in several versions of Regan's work now, but I advise, if you are interested in becoming yourself part of Regan's world, who is classed as possibly the #1 female manifestation coach in the world at this present time, is to join their monthly subscription program for a tiny, tiny fee compared to the value you'll receive from it. And if this sounds like something that interests you, I have dropped a link how to join her Ignite program in the show notes. I highly recommend that you do that. Plus, as a member, you will receive massive discounts to many other resources that as they become available. And if all you get out of this is that you are motivated, that you get that we are motivated by 6 basic fears, and that 2 of the most fundamental of those are fear of death and fear of poverty, and that this episode makes you realize that they are at play in your life, and you start focusing your attention away from these and focus everything you have and focus everything you have on what you have to be grateful for, my work is done. So yeah, it wasn't a planned one, probably not the most professional recording, but I just wanted, like I said, my work is just to get you to think about what is motivating you Is it fear or is it faith? Because fear will cause detrimental effects and take you away from the things that you want. But focusing with faith, that even if you haven't got them in your physical reality today, the more time you spend focusing on them and do visualizations of your big picture reality. So what we are seeing today, as you listen to this and as I record it, is not real. It's a manifestation of something we were thinking about in the past. So what we're thinking about today and what we focus on will manifest in the future. So it makes sense to focus on the things that we want and just be aware what is motivating us. Is it in our favor or is it not in our favor? And we can change our life every split second of the day and say, I'm not buying that. I'm going to focus on something else and spend a little bit of time visualizing your big picture reality. Like I said, I dropped the link for Ignite for Regan's monthly subscription, which is called Ignite. It is a tiny, tiny, tiny fee each month, but there's so much value in there. And each month she does an activation session. And I did one in March and it just blew me away. It just took me deeper than anything I've ever done in my whole life and changed my whole perspective. And I have complete faith of what I'm developing and working on is just everything I do is just like the best that's ever come through me because it's more aligned and more authentic. And I'm just getting carried away because I didn't say that. I think I was going to say all of that. So yeah, my work is done. If you just, it makes you make time to see what your motivator is. And even if you don't invest in anything that Regan's done or you don't click on that thing, like I say, I think there's 6 basic fears, but fear of poverty and fear of death are 2 big motivators. And this was what happened to these 2 very successful, like very famous people, because I think subconsciously, deep down, that's what they were focused on. They didn't even realize it, to the detriment of themselves, that they've both died very young now. And yeah, so if that's all I do is make you make time to sit down and see what your motivators are, or journal on your big picture reality and ask yourself what you really want, I've achieved my purpose today. So I'm going to say for now, have a fabulous day and feel free to reach out to me. Comment on your preferred platform what this episode or any episodes bring up for you, any light bulbs. And if this is the first time you've listened to any other content of mine you've come across, please feel free to go back and have a little binge. And I know, and just know that I love you and I truly believe you have the capacity to wake up happy. And if you haven't already, grab my free gift, which is actually at mywakeuphappy.com. So until next time, fabulous, have a fabulous day, week, month, year, life. This is Ali signing out until next time. Oh, I get a next brainwave where I go back into my notes and find those things I was going to share with you. So look out for some new episodes. And I'm just going to leave it there.